everyone. Hi, I am Jessica Koch. I am so happy to be your host of Profound Professionals. We have been running this interview series for, oh my goodness, I think we're approaching 8 years. Can you believe it? I can hardly believe it. And we've been bringing industry experts from all over the world to you. These people help you with your personal life, they help you grow your business. And today, my lovely and beautiful guest is Sandra Pelley. She is your pathway to connect with your spirit guides of all varieties. You know, there's just so much in this world of value and so many different ways to look at things, so much energy. I'm very spiritual, but I also believe in all the energies in the world and just so much to learn. So I'm excited to have a guest like you on the show. Sandra, so welcome.
Oh, very much excited to be here with you to spread the topic, especially. Yes, thank you.
I am so glad. So how did you get into the space where you felt like you started to know what spiritual guides were? Did you always know? And then you just suddenly decided to start helping other people find their guides? And what is a guide? Like, tell us all the things.
Wow. So how to tell that in a nutshell as well, too, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, I think we can all remember when we were children that we were like really fascinated with maybe a Black Panther or a horse or something like that. And ultimately, that is your very first spirit guide. We as adults tend to negate that, though, which is unfortunate. But those, when we come back to that, that's usually the first ones that come back in are the ones that we had as
Well,
children.
let me think. As a child, I had a stuffed panda bear that I loved.
There
Um,
you go.
And then I also was obsessed with ladybugs because my nana was she was big on ladybugs. So I also loved ladybugs.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's your two spirit guides automatically right there. I love that.
Huh.
Yeah. When you think about how did I get into this even more deeply and have that awareness come back to myself, I injured myself pretty severely stepping off a step ladder carrying down a computer box. I actually ended up dislocating both sides of my pelvis. And yeah, there's a whole long story around that, which is time consuming, and I'll keep it brief. In essence, I walked around for a year with both sides of my pelvis dislocated and attempted to find help all sorts of places. Traditional Western medicine wasn't working for me at all. And so I turned into the holistic metaphysical kind of help instead. And that's when I realized that there's a whole lot more going on around us and began the energy work. And I do this with my hands because that was one of the telltale signs was how my hands were feeling. So it started from there.
That's really, really interesting. And that is a lot, I think, how we find our passion, our niche, our all the things that we do. So what you share with us, how did you discover your personal spirit guides and what they are and then how you work with people to find theirs? That would be, I think, really great for the audience to see and hear.
For sure. Like I said, it was recognizing that there was a lot more out there. And then from there, I got interested in Oracle and tarot cards, found an incredible person who created her own deck from her artwork. And she taught a quick course. And that course kind of started these soul readings. And from there, it became, I was doing meditations and things. I went and did a basic shaman course, realized that the basic shaman course, I was already doing all that stuff, which was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing it already. I don't have to learn how to do this. I am doing it. So that was a big eye opener for myself as well.
Yeah. And so what about your guides? What are your spirit guides? Can you share that or is that too personal?
No, actually, I would love to share, especially one of them, which is really interesting. I'm wearing this bracelet right now, and it's got a bear on it. And that happens to be one of my power animals. In fact, I found this bracelet in my basement. Like,
Wow.
I don't know where it came from. I was honest to gosh, I thought it was my son's. I thought it might have been one of his friends. And then when I asked him, he said, no, I don't know where that came from. So I realized that it was something that Bear had left for myself. And that was a very powerful one. And I could tell all kinds of stories about Bear and how Bear has come in to support me. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, when someone comes to you for support, what kind of problem are they normally trying to solve? I mean, for you, I think it was getting your getting in line with what was the right way to heal through your
Mhm.
injury. But is that common? Is that how people often come to you, or what kinds of things are they coming to you to come begin seeking their spiritual guides with you?
Actually, most of the referrals that come to me, as well as those who come to me naturally, are wondering how to connect to
Oh,
their spirit guides, period, because
oh,
they don't realize that they are connecting because they think that they've got to be connecting a certain way. Like if I say, hey, I see this thing, then people think that I, honest to gosh, think this bear is walking by in front of me, but that's not the case. So that's kind of where it starts, is this idea of how they're seeing it.
mm-hmm.
Maybe an expectation is holding them back. And I can go off on another tangent around expectations, but in essence, the things that you learned as a child stop you from seeing things as an adult, because maybe someone said, "Don't be a drama queen," or don't draw on the wall, don't do this, don't do that," and so you kind of shut down that imagination portal, and it's your imagination portal that really opens up the being able to see and connect with your spirit guides.
So, do you have one-on-one coaching or group coaching or workshops, or how does someone come with you and work with you to start this process?
I love this. I do both. I will do one-on-one. I have what's called vision quests. However, if you are brave enough and you like the support, the group sessions are far more powerful because you actually get to hear other people who are going through the same thing that you're going through, and how all the different ideas that they're experiencing, you can resonate with them. And it just changes the whole dynamics. And I feel that you actually go through the whole process of understanding your spirit guides a lot more quickly when you're doing a group session.
I'm a big believer that you get more value out of group than one-on-one for sure. I really think that that's a beautiful experience. So, other than your book, which we'll talk about later, is there anything else about yourself or your business that you wanted to share before we move into your special tip of the day?
Hmm. Well, like I had kind of alluded to at the beginning there, the most intimate guide is your inner child. And that happens to be one of my signature programs. It's the Discover You, Reveal the Incredible You, because
Mhm.
I do see the incredible you. So I really help to foster that and bring it out. And then from there, lead you down this beautiful path where you learn all about your inner dragon. May I introduce myself formally?
Sure.
So, hi everybody. I'm Sandra Pelley, the Sandini Inner Peace Mentor, Dragon Ally, Galactic Shaman, as well as Visionary of the Guide Academy. And that inner dragon, that inner peace mentor, is my inner dragon. And that's what I love to bring out in other people, is what is that peace that really, really shows you personally who you are. May I give an example of this as well?
I would love that.
So I met this beautiful woman about 2 years ago, and she creates these beautiful, beautiful art pieces with welding. And
Mm.
her inner dragon piece is that she's the divine alchemist.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like if I had an inner dragon, it would probably be white. But
Mm.
I don't know what its mission is. I don't know what my inner dragon is. I don't know how to discover any of these things.
Yeah, well, what's really interesting about that is you're such a natural at what you're doing right here, and I imagine that that is a really big piece of who
Yeah,
your inner dragon is, right?
I would imagine it is. So what's a tip that you could give someone other than, I mean, I think the very first tip I gleaned all by myself is listening to you and thinking about the animals you felt drawn to as children. But what's a tip that you could give someone for them, that they could do today that they might have more of
Mm.
a connection with their inner dragon or their spiritual animal, or how even that guide would help them?
You know, one of the most powerful things that I ever learned by experience was a mantra that kind of fell in, I guess, or
Mhm.
dropped in, however you want to see that. And in essence, if I may breathe it as well through you, with you,
Yeah.
um, if you want to close your eyes, it even becomes that much more powerful.
Okay.
So, taking a breath, I am open.
I am open.
with no expectations,
With no expectations,
no limitations.
no limitations.
I am creating the outcome,
I am creating the outcome,
and I am the outcome.
and I am the outcome.
And so it is.
And so it is.
How did
I
that
love
feel?
that. That's lovely. And the first thing I see, and this is something that's been brought to my, actually, this year it happened in the past few months, maybe 3 or 4 months, maybe a little longer because time flies by so fast.
Yes.
But I see a stadium of champions, and it's my guardian angels and my ancestors and friends and family who I know have passed, but also people far before, deep ancestors, farther than I could track. Also, though, the family and ancestors of the future are in this giant stadium and they cheer for me, and it's like if you had a giant think tank of thousands of people the size of a stadium, and their whole purpose was how can we push Jessie along to help her live stay on the right path, have opportunities come her way, have luck or whatever you want to call it, blessings or things shower upon me. That is like their whole purpose.
Yep.
And that's what I see as my stadium of champions. I was going to ask that, if your spirit guides, they don't have to be animals, they can be, some people call them angels, or spiritual energy of some type, because that's what I feel. That's what I feel with me and following me, and people I love who've passed that I know. And then I feel like also, like I said, this connection, because I've been praying for generational healing, past, present,
Mm-hmm.
through our family and through our, generation lines. And ultimately, I feel like we're all family and connected, everybody, all energy is, but specifically my bloodline and things, and going both directions. So
I love that. I'd love to expand a little bit on that. First of all, when you heal yourself, when you work on ultimately the things that you are dealing with, you
uh-huh.
help 7 generations ahead, and that's regardless of whether you have children yourself or not. You're helping the generations ahead, and then going backwards. I've got this beautiful exercise called rewriting your ancestral path. And
Uh-huh.
you can go back a couple, or you can go back. I've had one client go back 28 generations and do healing around past generations that far back. So
Yeah.
very, very powerful. And coming back to your question of the spirit guides, do they need to be animals? No. They could be a feather, they could be a dragon, they can be
Yeah.
mythical creatures like fairies, they can be religious based ones like angels, they
Yeah.
can be so many different things.
Hmm. Well,
Very
because I think there's energy in thought, and thought is imagination, and so all that's powerful.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So that's something they can do today. Now, one of the reasons we started Profound Professionals is because I wanted the chance, in a selfish way, to meet amazing people like you all over the world, but then also push you out there to all of my audience so that they can do the wonderful things that they do and share it with their world and touch someone's life and help someone. But to take a moment of pause while we're doing all this sharing and loving and amplifying you and amplifying me, and hopefully amplifying the lives of those who listen, I'd like to take a moment and talk about causes that are close to my guests' hearts, because we just might bring up a cause that someone out there really needs, or knows someone who really needs it, and they just never heard of it before. So even just spreading awareness, time, treasure, talent, and awareness are huge ways we can support the causes that we love.
I
What's your thought?
absolutely, I absolutely love this. I've really been focused on. A, it's an online presence, I guess you could say. It's called the Nor Wall, just like the
Mhm.
whale, NARWHAL,
Uh-huh.
and ideally, this is a people-powered public interest journalism, and what it does is it really brings in, especially Canadian types of
Yeah.
topics, hot topics, some of the, and others, I guess you could say too. Like
Sure.
currently, they were working on the polar bears in Churchill, Manitoba, bringing
Mhm.
around the what the ice impact is. I know I reached out to them recently because there was an area that they were going to be closing down. And when I say they, I mean like governmental bodies, and
Mhm.
they were going to be creating this big dam in this area, which would then take out all these homes of the denizens that live in there, like the squirrels, wolves, and whatever else. And
Mhm.
so I reached out to them to ask if they were doing any more articles on this because I was interested in knowing what was going on. So they have high impact articles that really get you thinking about what's going on that aren't covered in the news primarily.
Well, that's a really good resource to have because not everything is in the news. I love that, and I had never heard of it before. So, if you're interested, you should check this out. We'll make sure it's included in the article about Sandra, so you can learn more. It may cover global topics. It may cover topics in Canada, and maybe even touch on things in the U.S. But we'll get the word out. You can check it out. You can share it with others. You just don't know who that might help today. So the next big thing is I am a big giant bookworm. It's not just the glasses. I like really love to read, listen to audiobooks. I love books. I love poems. I love music. And I'm building the ultimate book list of my guests' favorite books, something that helped you with your personal life or helped you grow your business. Now, this is a book not written by you. We're going to get to that one next. So tell us a book that helped you in your life.
For sure. Can I actually show the cover too?
Of course you can.
This is a book by Tanis T. McRae, Talking to Myself.
Ah.
And this really brought home for myself how, I guess, unalone, how supported I
Mhm.
was in a
Yeah.
way that I had never experienced before.
Oh, I love the cover. It's
Isn't
beautiful.
it so? Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So check that one out. It's going to be on the list. I'm excited. It's one I'd never heard of. And that's why I do this because I always hear about a new one that I never heard of. Now, of course, we're going to feature all the books written by our guests. And there have been many, many authors on this show, and many that were in the process of writing or had released a dozen or all stages of writing. You even had some publishing companies and things on here. So all kinds of interviews. And you have a book. Tell us all about your book, Sandra.
It is called A Spiritual How To. And in essence, this
Hmm.
is a journey that I share the tools that I myself used to get to where I am currently today. A very, very powerful book. And it kind of tells a story about, I
Uh,
mentioned the injury that I had. In the back of it, I list the 17 injuries I had over a 16, 17-year period that kind of everything just kept culminating and that. So yeah, it's a very powerful book in its simplicity that just shows you the core things that can help you to move into a spiritual path because I couldn't find a book online at the time. There wasn't anything.
Well, that's wonderful. So that will be really helpful. We will get the word out on that, and the link will be in the article as well. So that will be wonderful. Now, if you're watching this show and you think, I have a gift and a talent, I'm a coach, I'm an industry expert, I can help people's business grow, or I can help their lives be better, I should be on this show. Yes, you should. So reach out to us and let us know, and we'll get you booked. Now, if you're an industry expert, the chances are you're out there networking, you're at the local chamber, you're on the Zoom meetings, you're networking with a whole bunch of other industry experts. I know you're doing it. And if you are, that means you know other industry experts who should be on our show. So be their hero and ours. Like and share this, and also share it with other industry experts so that we can get them on the show. Now, before we say goodbye and wrap up, I would love for you, and you of all people could share one final piece I always say of information or inspiration. I'm guessing we're going to get inspiration from you before we say goodbye to the audience. What do you got for us, Sandra?
For sure. This is going to be maybe mind blowing for some. However, I would love for you guys to imagine this that on one side of you holding your hand is your little you, that most intimate guide. And on the other side of you, holding your other hand, is your higher self, that one that's leading the way.
Mm.
except the little you is scared and is protecting you and is pulling you back. And the higher self is pulling you in the other directions. And here you are in the middle being pulled in both directions. Support that little you, support yourself, love yourself. Yeah.
I love that. That is so beautiful. Thank you for that, Sandra. And you know what? That's it. That's a wrap for another Profound Professionals, everyone. And like always, I'm going to say, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. So until next time, bye, everybody.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks, Sandra.